Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the think show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. What I'm gonna do tonight, I'm gonna try this. Need some, people out there who are very highly intelligent and highly intelligent enough to give some words, that we all need to hear. Because if you're living in this society, 98% of the shit you hear is bullshit. I don't care what it has to do with. So for the people to have some, something in their ear that they can listen to, that they can vibe with, we want you to go ahead and share it with us. So I'm posting a link in the chat right now. And if you have something to say, you have a question you want to ask about tonight's program, you're very welcome. All we ask is that you be respectful. Treat us how you would treat your mom and daddy. And we'll treat you the same way. Unless you get real, you know how sometimes Negroes can get, and that's that ego talking. So we're going to talk about the opposite side of the ego today. Davida Carter, what's happening? What you doing for the spring? This sister right here grows her own food, has her own catering business, and them the kind of people I like to talk to because they know what they're doing. They're taking the tools that the Creator has given them, and they're using those tools. You can't do nothing but learn from those people. So tonight we got a brother with us tonight, Rick Moon. I'm sure you've all heard of him. I'm just grateful he's here with us tonight. And Rick Moon shares with us about nature, what's going on in nature, because that's what we're created from, nature. All of y'all mamas and daddies was doing some triple X rated shit for you to get here. So don't try to act all new now. So Rick Moon is going to come share with us nature and how nature is really our homie. And if we just paid a little more attention to it, we could get a whole lot of benefits from it. Rick Moon, what's going on, homie?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm good.
Cool, man. It's cool to have a brother you can go talk to that can tell you about nature and our connection to nature and what nature means to us. We were created from nature. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up and let you talk about nature. Fill us up, man. Charge us up.
All right, thanks, man. Hey, how y'all doing out there, America? I hope y'all doing fine. Um, what I'm gonna talk about now is I'm gonna talk about nature because I feel that this is one thing that we have to. It's part of the fight for us to become a collective. It's a collective thing actually, because all things go by their nature. All living things go by their nature, and people should be included in that. But right now, I don't think so because we do a lot of stuff that goes against nature. But anyway, nature was created. We us being the indigenous people on this uh, Mother Earth slash nature life, being that we're the indigenous people, we're not only responsible for, because I know a lot of people say stuff like, oh, well, I don't care, as long as I get mine, or as long as me and my family cool, and stuff, and that's fine, ain't nothing wrong with being. I mean, you should, you know, um, do for self first, because if you can't do nothing for yourself, then you can't help nobody else. But what I'm saying is, it don't stop there. It don't stop there. You have a responsibility not only to the people that you love, but you also have a responsibility to all other people, all other indigenous people of America, because that's why we were put here. You're also responsible for anything that America created, as in the plants, as in the animals, as in the soil. That's all part of your responsibility. That's why you're an indigenous people. You ain't no Native American. You ain't no none of that. All these all these fake factions out here. You ain't no federal Indians. You ain't none of that. You are what the creator created to be responsible for this part of the America. And the problem is, Mother Earth is out of balance, and we hold a lot of responsibility to that because we've forgotten our nature. We want to we've let others, and foreigners at that, come into our homeland and just take it over. But I'm telling you, one of the major ways that you're gonna get it back is you're gonna have to you eventually you're gonna have to adhere to the laws of nature. That's the only way you're gonna get it all back. You can buy some of it back. You might get fortunate enough that somebody might pass it down to you. But the way I think, I want it all back. I just don't want a piece of it, because I'm not in this for me. I'm in this for all indigenous people of America anyway, because this is my homeland, and this this is the part of the earth that I'm responsible for. This is the heartbeat of the earth. That's why everybody want to come over here. That's why all these people over here.
Hey, Brick, would you say it's because where they come from at home, they've burnt out all of their natural resources and now they're over here to get these?
Yes, I would say that, and that's why they're still over here, because they taking out, and they taking a lot of it. They taking most of it. Now, fortunately for us, we still can stop this. We can still stop this now. It ain't over. But if we don't start to do the things that we're supposed to do, it's the same thing is going to happen to what happened in Africa, or in Europe, or any other, or all these other places.
So,
And
let me ask a question real quick.
uh,
So because I'm looking at this, they're always talking about this global warming shit, making you think it's a big ass panic. And I see that America keeps drawing people to it, which means she has something that people want. It's funny that the people that she produced don't want her. What kind of dichotomy does that produce from the people that the earth created, and now those people don't have no respect for that which created them?
well, it's like this. Uh, Nature, Mother Earth, she can create anything she wants. So she don't necessarily need you. If she tired of you, she can get rid of you, and then she can bring in a new people.
Well, let me ask you something, man, because this is something. This is a problem I have with a lot of brothers down here when we chat. Why do you call Earth she? Because see, I know some brothers that say they have seeds and they do all kind of mystical, magical stuff. Why do you call Mother Earth she?
I call her she because that's where that was. She's the original birth. She's the original mother. The females are the mothers. They're the one that gives the birth. She's the one that gave birth to all of her indigenous creatures: animal, human, plants, soil, water, everything, everything. And that's a feminine thing. That's a feminine thing. The mothers are, and we are actually replicas of her anyway. That's what we are. And the females are responsible for birth. Like she birthed us, the female. I mean, like she birthed all of the creatures here. The females birthed all the human birth of the indigenous people. That's why I call her she.
Because she produces everything.
Right,
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know that you can. I just okay. You cleared that right up.
right.
We have a caller that joined the chat. Jaden, you had a question?
Yes, I got a question. Where do men get this concept of them being dominant when the earth, we call it Mother Nature, and women come from the earth. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. We, we got that. We got that from the foreigners. We got that from patriarchy. That's what the European brought here and gave to us, gave to the males. That is, and one of these days I'm gonna do a show on that too to tell you exactly what happened. 'Cause this history that they teach us is not even close to what actually happened and why it happened and how it happened. But that's patriarchy. That's all that is, and we picked that up from the European, and and there's also ego. That's another thing that we develop. We develop huge egos, and we don't want to, and we were convinced that we are everything just because we're the strongest. I mean, it's just like people think that just because somebody got a lot of money that they are successful.
Right.
But there's a lot of unhappy people that got big money. And that's what I said, and I think it's a little jealousy too in that too.
Isn't that part of the ego? Jealousy?
Yes.
Well, can you tell us this? Could you explain this to us? What is the ego's relationship to nature? And I want to make sure we're talking about the ego in the same vein. To me, the ego is our bodies. We are inside of our bodies making all this shit work. The ego is, and when I say body, I mean mind too, because it makes us think we're something that we're not.
Right.
So to you, what is the relationship between ego and nature, if there is any relationship?
I don't think it's a relationship at all because ego that's artificially created. That comes from that don't nature is absolute truth. Ego, that's I mean, that's not a I mean, we're ego is what you might call an emotion, but it's not one of the emotions that our people were introduced to, or that we were taught, or that nature gave us.
Okay.
So now I don't think there's any relationship. I think those are two different things. The ego is more created artificially from individually, and like I say, nature is a collective thing.
Okay, so if nature is all of that, and trust me, I believe you 100%. Have we been yanked from the land that hard? Because the average person I know is scared to death of nature.
Almost definitely, we've definitely been hoodwinked. I mean, we've been actually we've been reprogrammed. Like you said, we're scared to death, but that's our natural environment. And it was funny. It was funny. Uh, the first time, remember the first time we went to West Virginia, me and you,
Yes.
right? That was actually the first time that I ever spent time in nature outside of service. Now heck, I wouldn't spend no time in nature. Then heck, I was busy trying to being a slave.
Listen to all that junk.
So
And let me just share this with the chat real quick. People in the chat, if you have people who've been in the military in your families, talk to them. They know more than they're letting on. Talk to them and they can teach you some survival skills and some things to do. They're very important. Them cats that was in the military, just telling them thank you for your service. That's that. Ask them about their travels and watch what you learn. Go ahead, Rick.
yeah. What was the question again?
I forget. Just go ahead.
Yeah, but
But we were talking about, is the ego somehow connected to nature, and you were saying no.
no, because it's not. Yeah, like I said, it's not part. It's not part of our natural the way we're supposed to be. Fear is not either. That's not an emotion uh that the indigenous people supposed to have either. But we got plenty of that.
Fear. I think that's the main problem, because you can't, what's going on in the world right now, you can't be ignorant to it. If you are, you just a stupid. Because it's right in front of your face. This stuff is right in front of your face. And how don't we know? So I'm thinking I'm thinking more people know than they think, but it's just what you just said, fear.
Yeah, I definitely agree that people know more than they let on to. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
one of the example I wanted to give is like everybody sitting back waiting for what's going to happen next, and it's like you're going to happen next. You're what you thinking, what you say, how you see it, and many of us don't see it no kind of way. We look for massa to tell us, and have what he's been telling you been working. No. So, what do you think? You remember, you're a part of nature. You're like a leaf on a tree. I mean, this is what Rick is saying. You're a leaf on a tree. Your ego makes you think you're something else. You're Batman Jr. or something like that. But you are part of nature, and it's your job to find out what the hell you're supposed to be doing.
Right. And another thing, we need to stop worrying about what other foreigner, unindigenous people think. Forget them. They're not going to survive. They Mother Earth didn't create them. They're not going to survive, and they know it. They know it. That's why they want to. That's why they want to try to take as many of us along with them, because they know they can't survive here. I mean, look at it. I mean, example. Look at all these, and I hate to use it as an example, but look at all these kidnapping. Most of them are little brothers and sisters. Why? Because they got the blood of the earth. They got it all.
Say that again, Rick, please.
They have the blood of the earth, which came from their mothers.
Y'all get that? Y'all get that? You're not all these names and ideologies that people come with, that people come giving you. You notice that all the indigenous people here, all they do is follow foreign stuff. Nation of Islam, Pakistan, Egypt, Africa, China. You know, most Negroes got more stuff in their house made in China than they do that they made themselves. Amen. See, that shit ain't funny. But we go along like it's cool. This is why we lose, because we believe what other people tell us, and we won't even sit down for 5 minutes to listen to ourselves. Go ahead, Rick.
Right. And and another thing about nature and indigenous people, we have to start thinking nature. I mean, that's what I try to do. I ain't saying I'm perfect or anything, but everything I think of, I try to base it off of nature, because nature is absolute truth. It ain't never wrong, ever. So if I think in terms of it, then I can never be wrong.
It's just that simple.
Right. So we have to start thinking that way. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. I mean, one thing, but I know a lot of us don't like thinking. But I'm telling you, it'll take you a long way, and it'll solve a lot of problems for you, and it'll solve a lot of them debates that y'all having with these other clowns, like these Afrocentrics and these patriarchal dudes.
Give us an example of what one of them would say.
What one of who would say?
That the patriarchal that got us thinking. Because I be hearing young brothers say, yo, man, the seed comes from the man. I'm like, dude, the woman's eggs are passed down from generation to generation. When her mother has her, she has her eggs. It's passed down from generation. You just fertilize those. Man, they look at me like I'm a damn fool.
Mm.
I mean, but this is like common sense. This is stuff that you can see.
Yeah. Here's one that I don't know. I think I might have mentioned it before, but maybe I haven't. One of the most overrated things, I know I've said this before, is science. Science is very overrated because science is man-made. Anything man-made can be manipulated. So you can't manipulate nature. Can't manipulate it because that's why they had that saying, "Let nature take its course," because that's what it's gonna do, and ain't nothing gonna stop it.
So what about those who are trying to manipulate and change nature, like having babies outside of a woman, stuff like that? What's the ramifications of that?
The ramification is you're gonna go along with your ideology
Right,
because that's not how nature goes.
right.
You can't. I mean, you can't have no. And it's funny because I've seen pictures of Adam. I've seen pictures of him.
It ain't. They didn't.
Oh,
They had cameras back then.
or whoever made the pictures of Adam, whoever drew those pictures,
Oh, okay.
you know, and they had him, and he didn't have no shirt on, and I'm like, why does he have a belly button?
Check this out. So check this out. This is a brother. This is my first time seeing him. Brothers and sisters are not just of dark carbon tones. Brothers and sisters are more than that. I mean, yeah, we know that. We're talking about nature. And go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry. And this is what I'm saying. This is confusion. We cannot be confused. People who are weak are confused. People who, I don't know, people like that are slaves to other men.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's cool, but it's another topic though.
That's right. That's all. I mean, if we're on here talking about how to make orange juice, and you're bringing apples into it, and just how you speak, just how you come across. That's what we're talking about, the ego. This brother's talking about nature. I mean, and like you say, Rick, it's the ultimate truth.
Hey, and let me give you a good example on how nature works. Okay, and I'm gonna compare it to indigenous people. Okay, you got a bunch of apples. You got a box of apples. You got two boxes of apples. One of the boxes, all the apples are good, right? Good, right? Ready to eat. The others are all rotten. They got to be thrown away. They're no good. You can't eat them. Now, if you're thinking in terms of nature, if I take one of those apples, one of those good apples, and throw it in that bad apple batch, do you actually think that all of them apples gonna turn good? It's
No.
naturally impossible.
Right.
Now you can take one of those bad apples and throw it in with all the good apples, and it'll mess it all up. It'll rotten all the rest of the apples. Because
Check.
it'll give it that disease, whatever it got, it'll give it to all the rest of the apples there. Now, in terms of indigenous people goes, and I'm basically talking about America and all these people who swear they from Africa. using that example about the apples, do you actually think that a race of people who's on top in the inventions, have the best athletes, the best singers, the best, I mean, just about everything, inventors, best dancers, and everybody trying to do what you do, most coordinated people in the world, do you actually think that you came from an uncoordinated people? All of a sudden, this uncoordinated people came across the Atlantic, and all of a sudden they became supermen.
It's just that simple, dude.
That's thinking in terms of nature. What's
Right.
natural? What's natural? That's and we got to start thinking like that. I'm telling you, like I said earlier, it'll solve a lot of problems for you because it ain't hard to figure out, and you can also figure out what's artificial too.
Give us an example of that.
And an example would be the natural environment of America is the forest, right?
Yes.
Anything that doesn't live in that forest is not of that forest. So it's not indigenous. I'll give you an example. Pigeons. You're not going to find pigeons in the forest, but you can go to downtown to the transit station, and they're everywhere. They're city birds. They're city birds. America is the forest, and if anybody can go find me about 100 pigeons in that forest just flying around, hey, I got a whole big old piece of property for you in Japan near Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
I mean, how don't we see stuff like that, man? See, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, simple, like what you just said is so simple. If a pigeon went to the forest, man, them other birds will wear their asses out. And we never think about that. So let me ask you this, because I know you're a big fan of his. There's reports out this week that Stevie Wonder. There's reports out this week that Stevie Wonder is moving to Ghana. Your thoughts?
Hey, first of all, you doggone right, I love Stevie. As a matter of fact, I don't care what nobody say. I argue anybody down, but it's all my opinion though. In the thick of it all, but I think "Songs in the Key of Life" is the greatest album I ever heard. And so now on his moving to Africa, hey, all I can say is good luck because I ain't going with it. You know.
But do you think? Because I did a program with Janet Daly last night, and she said, and Janet is like, she's an elder,
right? I caught maybe the last bit of it. As a matter of fact, Janet was having problems staying in by the time I caught it.
Okay, so so she knows some things that were going on back, but it's not going on now. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you were a kid, kids don't do what you do now. which you know what I'm saying, what you did back in the day, kids
Right.
do today. So that's cutting off from the culture. That's, you know what I'm saying? They're not
Right.
going to know, nothing. And
Hey, matter of fact, let me give you an example. When and me, I'm old enough and fortunate enough to being able to get a taste of that, that times when things were good, well, a whole lot better than they are now anyway. But I remember where everybody in the whole neighborhood, at every house in the neighborhood, they either had a nut tree, a fruit tree, or both, or different types of both. I mean, I remember we used to just walk up the street and all you could see was acres of plum trees. We ain't had to go to no store. We didn't have to spend no money. It was things like that. And now, man, it's hard. It's hard to find them now. Hey, I be looking though. I know where a few fruit trees are and a few nut trees are. Matter of fact, I know where a little bit of everything is.
but
But it's harder. It's getting harder and harder to find though.
but the kids growing up today, that's what I'm saying. So you were eating stuff that grew from a tree,
Right.
food that grew on the grind. So stuff that grew on the vine. So you was directly connected to nature. So now your grandchildren, it's like they cut off from that.
Right.
So that's how we're disconnected, from ourselves. And plus they changing your names. They call you black, which means you're nothing, and you love that word. They Negro or whatever, and it's just to have us in total confusion. Total confusion. And that's why when people talk, you have to be there to explain what you're talking about. Because what we have is a lot of people. I hope I don't sound confused. You guys wouldn't be here, I sound confused. Then you were part of this whole ecosphere. You're part of it.
That's right.
If anybody knows what to do, you do. Because you connected to it like I am. I know
Right.
you like to pretend like, nah, I didn't know. No. I know. I know that's what you've been trained to act like, because we like to pretend like we don't know shit. And they're highly intelligent people. Why you think all these people running over here to get next to you? To get next to you. So Rick, with everything that's going on now, and we see what's going on in the world, and you getting the feeling of how people are thinking, how will nature help those people now that's caught up into this?
Basically, like I said, it'll help direct you to the absolute truth. Because like I said, it don't go it's never wrong. Nature is whatever number and zero, never lost. Because it don't change.
Now, nature. Now, you're directly connected to nature by your breath, because you're breathing. You're breathing in oxygen.
Right.
Your ego takes you away from that. I can't make it no simpler. Your ego takes you away from that. instead of knowing that you're a part of this that created you, you think you something else that somebody else created. That's what an Egyptian is. Somebody created an idea, because I think those people who lived in that part of the world at the time, they didn't call themselves Egyptians. You can't even give them the respect to call them who they were, because you don't know about yourself.
All right. That's right. And we'll claim anything. Like all these people claim Cleopatra. Cleopatra was a sister. Cleopatra is Cleopatra. Cleopatra was a Ptolemy. She's a part of the Alexander the Great's bloodline. She wasn't no sister.
So
But we claim her, and we'll claim her and stick to it like gold.
what does that do to us in the long run that you've seen, when we take all these stories and try to make ourselves the star of the show? I know that's ego, but can you give us some examples? What has that done?
Well, I'll give you an ultimate uh uh, effect of it is when people give you all these foreign ideologies, and you got to notice they only give them to us. They don't give them to nobody else because everybody else know. So when people give all you these different ideologies and you go for them, that makes you easier to remove. You're easy to remove. That's why Stevie Wonder going to Africa.
You see how they mix up the game. They got them coming over here, got you going over there, and they're replacing you. So that's what the term African Americans are. They're talking about them coming to take your place, and we don't get it. And
Right.
and then tripping, because it's simple. It's some
Mm.
stuff like you would tell your kids to wash their hands before they come eat dinner. It's simpler than that. But your ego, because that's what you believe, that's what you know, you go with it. And it just
Yeah.
ruins us. And you see that, but you won't change. Okay.
Hey, what even makes it worse, you know that if any one of them make one bad move, they deported. They gone. Hey, but at least they can go back to a homeland. Where you going to? What part of Africa you from?
And let me tell you, and this is very important. We have a lot of immigrants from Africa over here. With the stories they're told about you to get in here, what do you think they're telling their people back home about you? Because I don't see a lot of brothers over here marrying African women. I mean, we have sisters over here, they marry African men. Do you, boo? Do that. But you don't see a lot of brothers over here marrying African women or getting with African women. Why? Because you know what the African woman is taught? The African woman is taught to keep her bloodlines intact. You know what the Negro woman is taught? I can fuck whoever I want to. You don't tell me what to do, nigga. You ain't my daddy. That's what the Negro, and the Negro man too. And the Negro man more so than the women.
and these Africans, they're not even your bloodline.
And
And not only are they not your bloodline, check this out. Most of them knuckleheads over there ain't even indigenous people.
right, right.
But we all own their job. Just because they got the same color. Skin color does not determine race. Bloodlines do.
We don't get it.
And like I said earlier, that's passed from the mother. If the mother, hey, whatever that mother's blood is, that's what the baby's blood gonna be, whether it's male or female. And when you go over, and you marry outside of your race, you're weakening your bloodline. Because, like I say, you're the people of the earth. So you're weakening your bloodline when you're going over there, and you're strengthening theirs.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Why do the so-called black men? So why do the so-called black men don't want to be with the so-called black woman?
So this is we're gonna answer this on just a common sense. This is common. This is something that roaches know. Who raised that black man? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Well, yes. Well, I just wanted to hear from you guys.
Yeah, but okay, now. So just imagine a brother gets up every morning and he sees his mama trying to look more like a white girl than of herself. Imagine a young man seeing that. What do you think he's going to want when he grows up?
Something different than what he's seen from his mother.
No, because his mother is training him. His mother is teaching him. The kid doesn't know anything but what his mother teaches him. That's all. Have you ever seen that video of this cub is going up a cub, a polar bear? It's two polar bears, a mother polar bear and a cub polar bear. And they're going up the mountain. And obviously, it's this baby's polar bear first time going up the mountain. He's never done it before. So he's following his mom up to this mountain, but the baby, he doesn't know. So he keeps sliding back down the mountain. I mean, major. And the mother just keeps waiting for him. And you can tell by the mother's movement, if she could talk, she's saying, come on, baby, you can do, stuff like mother tells you when you're a kid. You can do it. And this little cub is just, on this mountain. But what the cub does, the cub's getting his mother's footsteps and use those as steps to get up the mountain. Simple shit. It's just like Reg is talking about the nature. Nature is the ultimate truth. This stuff is right in our face. This stuff is right in our face. I don't care if you 7 years old, you can get it. See, we like to play dumb our whole life. Then when stuff like this happened, I didn't know nobody. And the stuff is right in our face since you was a kid. But you turned away from it. You ran from it. You wanted to be something else. You wanted Jesus to come save you from it. And which wipes out your life. And that's what's happened to the African American. They don't. They're not there. You can't find an African American in the 1950s. You can't call Billie Holiday an African American. You and this and we do it and we got our chests out like we doing some shit. You look like a fucking fool. But you think your ego has you thinking, I can use I don't know nothing. Don't know nothing. Do you know how many 40-year-olds I've heard tell me, damn, dude, I should have listened 20 years ago. And we don't do that because we think we know everything and don't know shit. If you in this motherfucker and you trying to be whatever all this stuff is, because with all this LGBT, all this stuff, that's getting rid of you. Why? Because those people don't make children. And what kind of asshole are you if you won't reproduce, but you've been reproduced? What you and that's what I mean with a lot of the young kids. You're not even paying attention. Yeah, and you want some respect, you get none. And the ass whooping you got coming is ugly. One sex, homo, one sex. You have to reproduce because somebody reproduced you. And you can't even pay that back. What do you think's going to happen to you? That's more. You're not part of nature. You're part of something else. You're doing something. You want what they say? Do you, boo? That's what we want to do. You're not being part of nature. And what that's happening is it's thinning out our ranks. The sister asked me today, Carrie, what's up with all these effeminate males? I'm like, how do they get to them? What do one thing sisters don't do no more? And that's natural. Breastfeed. They Similac, infant, all that crap. What is that doing to the boys? And the girls? We don't see that we're wiping ourselves out, and we're cool with it. We got our chests out like I can do what I want to do. And if somebody like me say something, everybody will jump down their throat. You have a city like Atlanta, and if you ever been to Atlanta, Atlanta got some of the most beautiful women. And it's San Francisco South. For real? What do you think's going to, why do you think they're bringing all those immigrants in? Why do you think they have all that stuff? Why? And this is what we do. We do it. But you mad at the person who tell you, hey, this is what's going on. It's to remove your ass from the planet. And you just going along with it. So the men hate the women because they're taught to hate the women. See, the what you call music today, when I was 25, 20, the music was Snoop Doggy Dogg. Bitches and hoes and laughing at it and sniggling and giggling. And the women, they pop locked to every word he said. Now the cat is grown and he has daughters. And when you ask him, yo, man, would you want somebody talking to your daughter like that? No, he want to kick your ass. We're disconnecting ourselves from nature, calling women bitches and hoes, having them think the lowest of themselves. That is. So what you say, Rick?
Well, I'll say this. The females, one thing is when you when you and you kind of said it too, when you go out and you get this blonde hair and you get all these, things that's not of the normal sister. And I'm gonna tell you, females, and this is why, and males gotta learn this. This is why the power's in the female. Females can talk, can get to talking, and all this artificial stuff that they got on, they can get to talk. Girl, you look good. Oh, that's this, and that's this, and then all the dudes will believe it. They'll believe it, and then they start thinking like, wow. They start thinking the perfect woman is a woman with blonde hair. Well, they want natural too. They want a natural woman too. And they know you're not naturally blonde. So they go get a natural blonde. And another thing, uh, I think about sister females, a lot of sister females make bad choices too when it comes to the males that they choose. I understand that it might be slim pickings, but I mean sometimes you just got. I mean, it's somebody there. I guarantee you, it's somebody there. It might take a little longer. That's all. But but to be honest with you, man, I give most of the blame to the males. I mean that's just my opinion. I give it because
You give most of
because
the
I
blame.
think
You give most
because
of
we were the first one to go against nature when we stopped protecting our females.
So you're saying you think it's the males?
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying that it's I'm saying that it started with the males.
Okay. So today, February, what is it, 28th, or I don't know, the end of February 2021, with nature, with the indigenous people, what what would you suggest that we start doing now? Because spring is about to come in, winter's about to be over. We're going through those changes. What should we be doing in this upcoming spring when we get into spring, the spring equinox?
Uh-huh. Well, uh, uh, I mean, screw the spring equinox right now because it's still winter. But uh, uh, well, I'll give you an example. Like here in Charlotte today, I mean, the weather here is great. I mean, we still in winter, but the weather we got up in the high 60s at least. I probably got in the 70s, or it might even close to 80. I don't know. I I'm bad about checking stuff like that. But I mean, the weather's is perfect. And what one thing that I suggest people do is get acclimated with the earth. Get yourself reacclimated with the earth. And I'll give you an example. I have two grandchildren. One is 6. My granddaughter's 6. My grandson is 1. When I go see them to visit them, the first thing they want to do is they want to go outside. When they go outside and see, I watch stuff like this. When they go outside, the first thing they do is go start playing in the dirt. Start playing with the trees, playing with the little sticks they see on the ground. They ain't thinking about no toys. Ain't thinking about no toys. And my granddaughter's 6 now. You know, my grandson, he's just 1, so he's still learning. My granddaughter's 6. And that's the first thing she does. She ain't thinking about no toys, none of that. First thing she do is go back into nature. See, children are always tuned into nature. When they're born, they're already tuned into nature. We're the one that get them out of it now that we've learned from foreigners and we've indoctrinated their ideologies into ours.
You think it's that TV? Because when they come into the house, that's the first frequency they fall into.
Yeah. Well, look at the name, television. And that's exactly what it does. And everybody goes for it because they don't want to go find out for yourself. That's why that's why I said you gotta think nature. Because when you thinking, you exercising your brain. And now I'm not a doctor, and I don't claim to be no doctor. But this is just, and like I said, I'm just thinking in terms of nature. I feel that the more you think, the more uh, insusceptible you are to stuff like Alzheimer's and other type of disease that affect your brain. I think thinking is good for you. I think it's perfect exercise. It's brain exercise, and that's why I like. That's what I try to do. Like from this show, I didn't take any notes. I wrote scribbled a few things that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't take any notes. I didn't even research anything.
So Rick, let me share this with you. So this is one of the people in the chat. We can't get about the frequency they're sending out. So through the television, through the mainstream media, the radio, blah 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 blah, all this stuff that they're sending out. How can we checkmate that?
Stop watching it. For one, and huh? And another thing you can do is
I agree.
another thing you can do is like I say, think. I mean, don't just take nobody's word for it. Think about it. Make your own decision. Don't let somebody else make that decision for you. Make it yourself. And it takes a little thinking to do that. I mean, like I say, it's not that hard. It's simple. You can do it. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. Well, Rick Moon, man, I'm gonna go ahead and close out now. Leave us something that we all can do for this upcoming spring change, spring clean.
Okay, like I said, as far as things that you can do now, whenever the weather's good enough, walk barefooted. Get yourself acclimated back with the earth. That's what children do.
I just got my feet done, dude.
No, that's how you stay in tune with earth. And if you don't have time to go out and just walk barefooted, do what I do sometimes. Like when I'm in like when I ain't necessarily in a rush, but I have to be somewhere at a certain time, and if I take too long, I'll be late. A lot of times I'll walk out the door and walk through the yard to my car barefooted and put my shoes on in the car. or take my shoes off when I get back and walk back through the yard and walk in the house. Go to a tree and hug it. Uh, start. Spring is getting ready to come up. It's time to start getting your garden. And speaking of that, there was somebody on last night that was trying to holler at me. I think the name was I'm Born Here, and if he's in the chat, he or she or whoever is in the chat, they were asking me about seed. And one, you gotta be aware of what kind of seeds you get and where you get them from. As a matter of fact, even more so aware now, because I don't know if y'all know, but uh Creep Show Joe just made Mr. Monsanto himself the head of the Department of Agriculture.
Dude, you lying.
I mentioned it. I said it, but I didn't mention it was him. But that was one of them executive orders he did.
He
Yeah.
made who
So
CEO of Monsanto the head of what? I mean, I
Mr.
want to get it right.
GMO.
Okay.
The creator of GMO seeds.
So listen, get with the sister Davita Carter on here. Check her out online. She's on online. She's trying to stop people from getting evicted and stuff. She's doing a whole lot of stuff. This is a sister that grows. Get with some of these people that grow food around you guys, because this is how serious it is.
And let me say one more thing. That to that person. If you want to get seeds, there's a place called Fedco. F as in Fred, E as in Ed, D as in Danny, C as in Charles, O as in Oscar. It's called Fedco, and you can go online. You can go to fedco.com, and now you might have to buy a little more than you might want, because usually everything is gonna be in a little bulk. But everything is good. Everything is good. As a matter of fact, if you start getting their magazine and start reading the articles, they'll tell you a lot of what's going on in the farming industry, including what to watch out for. The people who ain't good for you, the places you don't need to be messing with. People that's tried to who've tried to take them out. They talk about a lot of that stuff in their magazine, and I don't know how much it costs. I don't have it, but I've seen people that with it. I've been meaning to start getting it myself, but their seeds are perfect, and you can go to the Park Service too. Their seeds are good. Might have
And
to pay a
also,
little more for them. I don't know.
and start saving your seeds too. No matter no
Right.
matter what you think, just start put cups in the garage or wherever staying, and save your seeds, because you're gonna need them. Because everybody see this GMO bullshit going on. And I heard something the other day that freaked me out. They say most of the food sold in America is outlawed in other countries.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is shit we gotta know, y'all. We gotta know this. Why won't other countries let the food in America go into their countries? Because the food in America is trying to depopulate the country. Check out what's that on the East Coast? The Georgia Guidestones. Come on, they have it written all in front of your face for years. They want to rid the world of you because you're on the land that other people won't. Where do you go in the world where indigenous people are the minority people? They've been telling you 13% of the population for the past 100 years. For real? You're being bombarded. Other people are walking away from their homes, coming to get your homeland because you don't know it's yours.
Hey, and Book, and another thing I can say, you know, knowing where you come from and knowing your surroundings and knowing nature, being the indigenous people of the world, this is part of your case. You know, that's part of your case to help. You know, like you got all the people that's done their genealogy and they can prove it in documentation, who they are and stuff like that. Well, this is like other evidence that you're from here. That's why I tell people to go to the forest and meet yourself and see how you just take somebody with you because you can't look at yourself but take some of your peeps with you and look how they blend into everything in that forest. And we got imaginations. You can imagine anybody in that forest. You can imagine a European in that forest. You can imagine a doggone Native American in that forest. You can recognize. You can imagine an Oriental. You can even imagine an African in that forest, and he don't fit.
Crickets.
So I mean, oh, go ahead, Buck.
No, crickets. Because when you said imagine the Africa in the forest, I was like, hey, that doesn't go together.
No.
That don't even go together.
No. That's why we're built. That's why we're built certain ways. That's how we're built that's why we're built like we're built here.
Right.
That's why the animals in the forest are built like they're built.
Right.
Because of what it is. I mean, that's why everybody, although there are indigenous people all over the world, we all still not the same. Because the animals are not the same. I mean, you're not going to find pumas in Africa or lions here unless you go to the zoo. Or they done escape.
So Jay Indigenous Rick Moon says we fit everywhere. Talk on that.
There are indigenous people everywhere who fit in that particular ecosystem. But the ones in America fit in the American ecosystem. America, I don't even like saying American. America ecosystem. That's why we look different. That's why, that's why we don't look exactly the same. We might have the same. That's why we got different blood types.
I mean, because so let's take the globe, okay, and let's make it flat. Where do you go around the globe? To me, when you're on the equator, that's the hottest place on the earth, wherever you are on the earth. If it's Africa, if it's Indonesia, wherever it is. When you're along that globe, all the people are dark skinned, but they come in, like you say, different bloodlines. They look different. They live in a different part of the world. They all might be the same color, but they all not the same people. Can you speak on that? When you talk about,
like I said, all living all living things of all of Mother Earth creations live in an ecosystem that was made for them, for their type, for like I said, okay, example, you take the body, for instance, you have a heart which serves a purpose, you have a brain that serves a purpose, you have lungs that serve a purpose, you have a liver that serves a purpose, you got all this. But Earth works the same way. Because you are a replica of it, of her. She worked the same way. Like I said earlier, America is the heartbeat. All the trees, all the lakes and rivers, those are veins. You can match everything, and like I said, the things are different. The animals are different. The plants are different. Everything is different. So she made you indigenous to a certain part of her. In our case, America. That's why I have no plans on going to Africa or anywhere else that name ain't America. I don't want no female. If her name ain't America, I don't want her. Because like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. I'm practicing. I'm trying.
Man, you know you want. Hey, man, Kanye West is getting a divorce from Kim Kardashian. Dude, this your chance.
Hey, I don't want no artificial chick either. I want a
Hey, man,
sister who look like a sister.
you see how this chick just made all this money off this cat? I mean, she was nothing but a ghetto gagger chick. And she
Right.
got with the cat who most sisters would kick to the curb and
Mm-hmm.
is about to walk away with over $5. It seems like we're doing something totally wrong on both ends. And I think it's by what you said, we have no connection to nature.
None whatsoever. And well, I ain't gonna say none whatsoever because we still have some things, some things. As a matter of fact, and females are even more connected to nature these days than males are. Uh, but all of us still have some connection some stuff we still do on instinct,
Yes,
and not on command.
right.
So but we losing it more and more. We losing it more and more. And when you was talking about uh climate change, I was thinking about what happened in Texas. Now they went from what sub-zero temperatures, and in a week they're up to almost 80, 81 in Dallas Fort Worth area. And just
Dang.
last week you had sub-zero temperatures. And another thing, usually when something like that happens in Texas, because as you know, weather fronts go from so-called west to east.
Right.
So if it hits Texas, that means that it's most likely going to hit here. And we didn't get nothing close to that. I mean, we had some cold days, but we didn't get. As a matter of fact, this whole winter, the most snow I've seen is flurries, and it
Yeah.
gets colder here than it does in Texas.
So what do you think that's about?
That's about they manipulating the weather, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because Texas is really south, you know?
Right. That's
Me-
deep,
Me-
really deep stuff.
yeah, it's really Mexico. You know, it's real south.
Right.
So tomorrow, you guys, you got to join us because I'm gonna have the Accomack Princess tomorrow night. She's gonna give us the lowdown on what's going down there in that part of Texas. Okay, so tune in with us tomorrow, and we're gonna have that on deck for you.
Hey,
Rick,
I wanted to say, hey Celestine,
what's going on,
uh,
brother?
well, I was gonna say thanks for having me on, man, and just leave with this. Um, like I said, try to think in terms of nature. I'm telling you, everything gonna always turn out right if you follow the law. Everything gonna always turn. You ain't gonna never be wrong. And with that, I was like, again, thank you for having me on the show, and peace out.
So I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us tonight. We just trying to bring you some information that we would think would be helpful. So if you think brother coming on talking to you about nature, how we get into nature, how we get back, how we connected to it, I think that's important for us to know. I know you want to talk about the Lakers game last night and whatever. We don't talk about that here. We talk about real stuff here. All the stuff that you see going on TV and all the papers and all that, that's artificial. It's like Rick Moon said, America's the heartbeat. Is your heart beating? We'll see you tomorrow night. Join us with the Accomack Princess from the Accomacks tomorrow night. You guys have a good night. Peace.